Hi everyone. Today we'll be reading the story Pumpkins by Ken Robbins. Do you notice that the illustration on the front cover of this book is a real photograph? When we see a real photograph as an illustration of a book, we can think that the story is probably true. When we see real photographs, that's a text feature that is associated with expository text or non-fiction text. It's going to be a true story when you see real photographs. I love this time of year when we see pumpkins everywhere. But did you know that pumpkins actually grow for 3 of the seasons of the year? Do you know what the seasons of the year are? Let's sing a little song to remind us what the seasons of the year are. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. Spring, summer, fall, and winter. These are the seasons of the year. Have you heard about those 4 seasons of the year? Can you say them with me? Spring, summer, fall, and winter. There are 4 seasons in the year. Pumpkins have to be planted in spring. Can you say spring? Pumpkins get flowers and make tiny little pumpkins in summer. Can you say summer? In the fall is when we get to enjoy the full-grown pumpkin. Can you say fall? In winter, the vines die away, as most plants do, and then they have to be replanted in spring. Let's read this true, non-fiction, expository text about pumpkins and learn as much as we can about the season that they grow in, their life cycle, and what fun we can have with them in the fall. Pumpkins by Ken Robbins. Have you ever seen this many pumpkins together in one place? This is the first title page of the book. This photograph of a pumpkin on the title page is the size that a real pumpkin can be. The title or name of this book is Pumpkins. The author is Ken Robbins. Have you seen a pumpkin with a top this big? Let's sound out the word pumpkins together. P, a, m, p, k, I, ns. Pumpkins. Say pumpkins with me. Pumpkins by Ken Robbins. At the time of the year when the air has turned cool, the corn stalks have turned brown, and the leaves are falling, splashing their color on the ground. These are the corn stalks it tells us about in the picture. And do you see the geese migrating in this picture? What season do you think that it is in this real photograph? When the leaves have changed colors and are starting to fall onto the ground, that's the season of autumn or fall. And the geese are flying and the crows are calling from the empty fields. It seems there are pumpkins everywhere. There's the trailer full of real pumpkins in this photograph. And the geese again migrating to the south. But the story of the pumpkin begins in the spring when the farmer plants her seeds in the ground. There are the pumpkin seeds. You can see the farmer doing her work. What season did it say the farmer plants her seeds? She plants her seeds in the spring. Can you say spring? There's the farmer putting her seeds into the dirt. The first small leaves come up in 10 days or so. And in just a few weeks, the vines spread out and flower buds begin to show. This is a very young baby plant. It would look like, the pumpkin plant would look like this in the spring, in the months of March or April. This is what the pumpkin plant would look like. As the pumpkin plant begins to grow towards the end of spring, it looks more like this. This would be in April or May. In the spring, what the pumpkin plant would look like. The buds open and flowers appear. This happens at the end of spring, near the beginning of the next season. Did you know that when pumpkins grow, they start as a beautiful yellow or orange flower? That's the bud of the flower. This is what the flower looks like as it begins to open, and this is when the flower is open. This is at the very end of spring and the beginning of the next season of summer. This is a pumpkin vine with all the open yellow pumpkin flowers. At the base of the flower, the pumpkin begins to grow. It's green at first, but it soon changes color. This is a baby pumpkin. This would be in the summertime. It's very small. This would be the real size. It would be smaller than your fist in the summer when it's green and first starts to grow. This is the pumpkin as it gets a little bigger in the summertime. It's still green and it's still very small, but maybe the size of 2 fists put together. It takes 3 whole seasons before the pumpkin is ready. At the height of summer, full-sized pumpkins are hidden among the vines. As the summer passes, the vines are cleared away, and a patchwork of pumpkins can be seen on the ground. So towards the end of summer, now the pumpkins are big and turning orange, but you can't see them because the vines are over them. But then as summer ends, the farmer cuts away all the vines and leaves the pumpkins in the patch. Have you been to a pumpkin patch that has many big round orange pumpkins laying on the ground for you to choose from? We go choose our pumpkin usually after summer is over, when the 3rd season of growing, fall, has begun. Look at the variety of pumpkins that really do grow in real life. Have you seen any of these other pumpkins besides the big round orange ones? Pumpkins grow in any number of colors and shapes and sizes. The ones we know best are bright orange and more or less round, or spheres, but many kinds are yellow, tan, green, or even blue. Some are round, but some of them are kind of flattened or squashed, you might say. Some are so small they fit in your hand. Others are positively huge. When you go out in the fall, be sure and look for all the variety of pumpkins. People hold contests to see who can grow the biggest ones. The gigantic pumpkin on the forklift weighs over 1,000 pounds. Look at the size of the 3 grown-up men that are just holding it on the forklift. And the forklift is this big machine. It takes that big machine to move the giant pumpkin because it's so large. This pumpkin is much bigger than this kindergartner. Many farms will let you go out in their fields to pick your own pumpkin right off the vine. You must pay for it first, of course, and then you take it home. Have you been to a pumpkin patch where you got to choose your own pumpkin out of the patch? This little boy is getting his pick from some really big orange round pumpkins. Orange and round are both adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe. Orange describes this pumpkin. Round describes the pumpkin also. For Halloween, it's traditional to carve your pumpkin into a jack-o'-lantern. You see what he's doing first before he uses the knife to carve the pumpkin? You'll need a pen or marker that erases easily. Draw a face, happy or scary, or whatever you like. Then get an adult to cut all around the top with a saw or knife. Do you know why you have to cut around the top with a saw or knife? Here's an adult using a little small saw to cut around the top. Why do you have to do that? Remove the top with your hands or a scoop. You can scrape out the guts inside the seeds and the wet membrane that holds them. Then get an adult to cut out the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. Have you ever stuck your hand inside a pumpkin to get out the seeds? What does it feel like? Can you use an adjective, a describing word, to tell us what it feels like when you put your hand inside of a pumpkin? I would use the adjective slimy or smushy or wet. Those are adjectives that describe the seeds and the membrane that you take out of the inside of the pumpkin. Once the jack-o'-lantern is carved, put it out on your steps at night or in your window or in some other safe place. Put a candle inside and light it. It will look quite nice. There's their finished jack-o'-lantern. They've set it outside. What do you put inside the jack-o'-lantern to make it glow? A candle or a flashlight. On Halloween, everyone dresses up for trick or treat. And there's the pumpkin decorating the porch. Ghosts and goblins walk the streets, and pumpkins are part of the scene. Are they real ghosts and goblins or just kids dressed up? Just kids having fun. By November, the pumpkins are mostly gone. Picked for jack-o'-lanterns or pumpkin pie. The few that are left will die on the vine, eaten by animals, or left to rot. Their seeds will survive, at least some of them will, to make more pumpkins the following year. So it's good for the ones that die and that rot, because that's how we get the seeds to plant new pumpkins the next year. That's one way that matter changes. When the pumpkin is there, it's whole and it's a solid, but as the pumpkin starts to rot, it changes into a liquid as it rots, and then eventually becomes part of the dirt, a solid again. but the seeds are left. They stay solid. You can collect them and eat them, or you can collect them and plant them the next year. There's many pumpkins cut into a variety of jack-o'-lanterns. I hope you enjoyed listening to how pumpkins grow over 3 seasons. Planted in the spring, growing in the summer, harvested in the fall. In winter, their seeds stay dormant, so they can be planted again the next spring. And I hope you enjoyed the real photographs of this expository or nonfiction text.